Big news for gun owners. Congress just passed a bill that could change everything. The House of Representatives voted to end the federal $200 tax on suppressors and short-barreled rifles, or SBRs. For decades, buying these items meant paying the tax and enduring a long, complicated registration process. This bill would remove both the tax and the strict National Firearms Act rules for these items. Gun rights groups are calling it a major victory, saying these old rules are outdated and unfair. If the bill becomes law, suppressors and SBRs would be treated like regular firearms accessories, no more special taxes or months-long waits. Supporters argue suppressors protect hearing, and SBRs are popular for their size and handling. The House's strong support signals a shift. Lawmakers are rethinking old gun regulations, not just adding new ones. Gun owners are celebrating, hopeful that buying these accessories will soon be simpler and cheaper. The bill's passage marks a big change in the national conversation about gun laws. Now, all eyes are on what happens next as the bill moves to the Senate. For many, this is the first real step toward modernizing gun regulations. The push for change started small, a proposal to eliminate the $200 tax on suppressors. Lawmakers thought a tax cut would help gun owners, but gun rights groups wanted more. Even without the tax, suppressors would still be stuck under the National Firearms Act, with all its paperwork and long waits. Gun owners argued that suppressors are safety devices, not dangerous weapons, and shouldn't be so heavily restricted. Advocacy groups rallied their members, demanding full removal from the NFA, not just a tax cut. Their pressure worked. Lawmakers rewrote the bill to take suppressors, and eventually SBRs, out of the NFA entirely. This turned a minor tax tweak into a sweeping reform. The new bill would end the registry, the paperwork, and the wait times for these items. Gun rights groups say this is the real solution, not just a half measure. The House's vote shows lawmakers listen to their constituents. What started as a simple tax cut became a major overhaul of federal gun rules. The stage was set for a historic vote. Now the focus shifts to the Senate. Gun rights supporters have long targeted the National Firearms Act, a law from 1934 that treats suppressors and SBRs like dangerous weapons. They argue the NFA is outdated, suppressors just reduce noise, and SBRs are simply shorter rifles, not more dangerous. Supporters say suppressors are safety tools that protect hearing, and SBRs are valued for their handling. The NFA's taxes and registration make these items hard to get, even for law-abiding citizens. Removing them from the NFA would mean no more long waits, extra fees, or federal registry. Gun owners want these items sold like any other firearm accessory, after a standard background check. The bill's real impact is ending the old system, not just lowering a tax. For gun rights groups, this is the change they've fought for, making safety equipment and popular firearms more accessible. The House's approval is a major milestone in that fight. If the bill becomes law, it will reshape how these items are regulated nationwide. The debate now moves to the Senate. Passing gun reform in the Senate is tough, but supporters used a clever strategy: budget reconciliation. Normally, 60 votes are needed to overcome a filibuster, but budget bills can pass with just 51. The key argument? The NFA is a tax law, and removing the $200 tax is a budget issue. This makes the bill eligible for reconciliation, bypassing the usual gridlock. Gun rights groups planned this move, knowing a standard bill would likely fail. Now, the Senate parliamentarian must decide if the bill truly qualifies as a budget matter. If the parliamentarian agrees, the bill can pass with a simple majority. If not, it faces a much tougher path. This decision is critical. It could make or break the bill. Supporters are optimistic, pointing to the NFA's tax origins. The outcome will determine whether this reform becomes law. All eyes are on the Senate's next move. The stakes couldn't be higher. The bill has sparked fierce debate. Gun rights advocates say suppressors and SBRs are safety tools, not threats. They argue suppressors protect hearing and SBRs are useful for sport and defense. Supporters claim fears about silent guns are Hollywood myths. Suppressors only reduce noise, not eliminate it. They point to other countries where suppressors are common and crime hasn't increased. On the other side, gun control advocates warn the bill could make shootings harder to detect and respond to. They argue the current system keeps dangerous items out of the wrong hands. Opponents say removing NFA rules puts public safety at risk. Both sides are lobbying hard as the Senate prepares to vote. The debate highlights deep divisions over gun laws in America. Each side believes their position is crucial for safety and rights. The outcome will have national consequences. With the House's approval, the bill faces its biggest test in the Senate. The budget reconciliation process could allow it to pass with just 51 votes, if the parliamentarian agrees it's a budget issue. If not, the bill would need 60 votes, making passage much harder. There's a backup plan. Even if full NFA removal is blocked, the tax cut might survive. That would still be a win for gun owners, making suppressors and SBRs cheaper. Senators can propose changes, so the final bill may look different from the House version. Gun rights groups are urging supporters to contact their senators and keep up the pressure. The next few weeks are critical as the Senate debates and votes. The outcome will shape gun policy for years to come. Both sides are mobilizing, knowing what's at stake. The Senate's decision will determine if this historic reform becomes law. For gun owners, it's the final hurdle. The nation is watching. This bill is just the beginning for gun rights advocates. Their long-term goal is to reform the entire National Firearms Act, not just for suppressors and SBRs. They argue that NFA rules are outdated and give too much power to federal agencies like the ATF. Recent ATF actions, like sudden rule changes on pistol braces, have fueled calls for reform. Gun rights groups want Congress, not agencies, to set the rules. Removing items from the NFA would limit agency power and create more stable laws. Supporters see this bill as a test case for bigger changes. If it succeeds, it could spark a broader movement to roll back federal gun restrictions. For many, this is about protecting the Second Amendment for future generations. The outcome could shape America's gun laws for years to come.